Much to my surprise, it's not over. It's getting close, but the Vichy have just barely managed to hold on. So turns 9, 10, and 11 kind of shaped up this way. On the east side, the Free French have moved up, made contact, but otherwise we have not been supplying them. They haven't been making very aggressive efforts. They're sort of the secondary front now, should we need them. The Vichy have spread out their defense. It's very thin, especially these poor troops over here behind this river and wadi. But that's because they had to strip all these defenses to try to help the coast road. In the center here at Cunitra, you can see it's getting pretty lonely. Now the French did conduct a very large spoiling attack, pushed their way through, disorganized most of the 5th Brigade here, but just couldn't punch through. After, one more failed attack, the 5th Brigade counterattacked, caused some casualties, and now the French are pulling back. Essentially, they're just going to fight their way slowly back towards Damascus. Allies are not making any effort here in the valley. They're just keeping themselves as a viable threat to tie up some Vichy forces. But it was the coast road that had all the fun. The Commonwealth had managed to make pretty big progress. Where we left the French was they were very depleted. They were trying to move some forces along this road, and they didn't quite get there. And that required a bit of luck, which they did get. They rolled initiative on the next turn. They decided to take that initiative. They really had to. And they moved forces into position, pretty far down the road. They were able to set up a good defensive line. But that left themselves open to some good fortune on the side of the Allies. They had very good recovery rolls, replacement rolls, as well as reinforcements, and they managed to just smash their way through both river lines. So the Vichy are left with, again, a very thin defense. Very large forces here for the Allies are getting very close to Beirut there. So basically the whole Commonwealth strategy is going to be hopefully a sudden death here at Beirut. If they can't get there, they have the alternate option to go with the Free French attack through Damascus. That one's less likely, just don't have the strength, but it could be pulled off. That gets us caught up with where we are. Now we'll go ahead and start with our June 28th turn. And the Vichy rolled initiative, and I've opted to take it. They'll move first, and I think I'm going to try to take back the village of Damour here and sort of reestablish the line behind this river. We're over halfway through the game, June the 28th. The final turn is July the 12th. So I can't just sit here and wait and hope that the Allies don't bust through me. I'm going to have to try to do something. So probably going to try an overrun attack with these guys here. See if we can soften them up and then do another attack in the combat phase. So they rolled pretty poorly on the supply table, and this is the one unit they recovered, a miserable little battalion, but I guess he can be a little roadkill. Our air is starting to wear down. We've lost one of our units to flak through the repeated bombing runs we've been making. But it's our most valuable asset, so we're going to do our best to use it to good effect this turn. So with that, we'll just go straight into the movement phase. I'm going to start with an overrun attack right here. The French armor and armored cars going to make a run here at the village. This is a tough attack. Basically just as a end of game desperation kind of attack. It's going to be very close 1-to-1 odds in the close terrain, but we're going to give it a shot here. It's going to cost me 1 full supply point. I have to fuel and supply combat. And it'll cost 2 tokens for the Commonwealth to defend. On the plus side, the Commonwealth is basically out of supply on the coast road. So that'll take the last of their stocks. Well, we kind of got the worst possible outcome. Rolled pretty low, and OCS is very punishing on low odds attacks. So we're going to lose that armored unit, and we have to take an option. So I think I'm going to go ahead and retreat that guy. I could have, I guess if I want to forfeit the game, I could have taken my option and forced him to either take a loss or retreat, give up the village. Oh, just for fun, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to take that option, so he's dead too. Now I have a decision to make here as the Commonwealth. Do I take a loss, or do I retreat? I think I'm going to take the loss because I want to hold that village on the other side of the river. So that's the most bang for the buck the French can get out of that. Now we'll just move on with what remains of our miserable force and relocate some people. I barely moved anything, just pulled back from Kunitra here, and repositioned a little bit here on the coast road. We're going to take another run at Damour here. So that I flew my bombers here to make a barrage attack. But unfortunately, the bombers had no effect. So it's going to really dampen our enthusiasm for that attack there on Damour. So I think all of the Vichy forces are in supply. So we can move right to our Commonwealth reaction phase. So I have this stack here. This is some armored cars in reserve. But I have no supply to fuel them, so I can't actually react with really anybody this turn. So we'll just move straight on into the Vichy combat phase. Since I've taken such horrible losses, I don't have any artillery to fire except one little battalion right there. I'm going to keep them in reserve. So I'm just going to move straight into my combat phase and throw these 2 hexes at the battalion there in Damour. It'll cost the French an entire supply point, but the Commonwealth have no supply, so they'll have to just use stocks. If only the French could have gotten it disorganized, it would have helped them so much. As it is, they're going to have to do a very low odds attack and just sort of hope for the best. Well, not bad, really. They got an attacker option 1, defender option 1. So I hate to take all these losses, but I'm going to take my option to force the defender to retreat. That's the only reasonable thing to do. They'll have to retreat out of Damour, and we can now occupy the hex. That'll restore our defense on the river line. I don't think it'll hold very long, but that's what we were after. Since we don't have any exploitation to undertake, no other cleanup to perform, that'll just be the end of the Vichy half of the turn. I think we'll have the Commonwealth stay the course and continue their attacks along the coast road here. To that end, they rolled pretty well on the supply table, got 3.5 supply points, which they desperately need, and they're able to recover 1 battalion. We'll put them on the coast road as well. So we'll just go right on with the movement phase. Largely I just chased on the east side of the map while I tried to get everybody up in place for an attack. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I don't want to fly that air in. I want to barrage with the naval guns. My naval barrage is very ineffective, so no damage done there. All the allies are in trace supply, so I can move straight into the Vichy reaction. Don't have a lot to react with, I'm afraid. One miserable little artillery battalion. So we'll move him. And we'll go ahead and shoot him. I think we'll fire him at this very huge stack right there. Oh wait, I forgot one thing. I have to spend supply points to restock that guy. So it cost me 2 supply tokens to fire that artillery. And unfortunately we rolled a very poor, low number. And did not affect the Commonwealth. So with that we can go straight into the Allied combat phase here. Start with barrage. The question is, should we undertake a barrage on this guy here or not? He is in the village. Total of 5 factors. We could spend a whole lot of artillery and therefore a whole lot of supply to try to knock him down, or we could just give a shot at a straight up attack with our superior numbers. Given how low our supply numbers are, I'm going to opt to skip barrage and go straight into the combat. This is going to cost us 2 full supply points to get both these stacks attacking here. They have 40 combat factors against 5, but they're attacking into a village and across a river, so that'll be a 4-to-1 odds attack. I had an okay roll. Attacker option 1, defender loses 1 in options 1. So we're going to go ahead and take our attacker option. This seems to be the most reasonable thing. That way we force the defender to take their option. So he will lose first that guy and then he'll retreat 1. Unfortunately we didn't get an exploitation result, but I guess we take what we can get here. I'm going to jump these 2 across the river and retake that village. That's my only attack, so I can go straight into the exploit phase. I have so little supply left. I want to see if I can get someone across and attack that battalion in artillery, but I really only have enough for releasing my 2 armor battalions. I can fuel them and then they can attack. So I think we can just manage to perform an overrun right here. You know, those 2 armored battalions attack that infantry and artillery. That surprise mechanism. I got beat back again. Roll defender surprise, which is a loss of the attacker, but the defender has to option. But at this point, they may as well just retreat, since they will likely not face any more attacks this turn. So that's the last of my supply. I can't actually release this other reserve. I have no way to fuel him. I'm not going to make any more attacks because that would be kind of suicidal. He doesn't have the strength. So I think I'm going to call that basically the end of our turn. No more exploit, no more nothing to clean up, so that'll be more or less the end. After a lot of casualties, we're basically right back where we started. The allies are across the river in Damour, but the French are now even weaker than before. So it's going to be very hard to get to the end of this game. I think it's going to end within 1 or 2 more turns. We'll keep going. Maybe we can get some recovery out of the Vichy and continue to build our line here on the coast road. Probably end up stripping some more forces from the east. Unfortunately, there are no more motorized forces, so it's going to be very hard to move anybody over in a timely fashion. But that's how it stands at the end of our June 28th turn.